Hi, I'm Deborah Dahab, expat coach and intercultural psychologist. I'm here today. We're going to talk about exactly what is expat coaching, something that I've been doing for some years now, and I get this question a lot. So if you like this video, please subscribe and comment, ask your questions. I'd love to answer any questions that you have and listen to your experience. So, expat coaching. Expat coaching is coaching done with a niche, which is a small group of people who have similar characteristics. And first I'm going to talk about what coaching is in a broader sense, and then I'm going to narrow it down to expat coaching. Sounds good? Great, let's get to it. So, coaching is a new profession, and basically it's a methodology of human development. Coaching, the premises of coaching is that you are helping someone, which will be your client, achieve a goal. During the coaching process, there is an exchange of questions. So the coach will never actually tell you what to do or give you advice or recommendations. That's not the realm of coaching. The realm of coaching is to help the client or the coachee find out the answers within him or herself. So the premise of coaching is that everyone has inside their own being the answers to their questions, the resources to solve their issues. The thing is that many times we don't take time and focus to look into our own resources and look into our own answers. Sometimes we need someone else, in this case, a coach, to ask the questions that many times we're not brave enough to ask ourselves. You know, many of us do journaling. I've been doing journaling for many years. And while it's a very important tool, I find it very important to have someone else challenging me and asking questions that might make me think, that might take me out of my comfort zone. And that's what a coach does, using what is called the Socratic method of questions, and the client will answer. Also, what happens in coaching is that the client or the coachee will have a specific goal. And one of the most, when people ask about the differences between therapy and coaching, one of the main differences is that coaching is, by its nature, it has a limited amount of time. So it's not something that necessarily will go on for a long time. Some forms of therapy do that, some don't. In coaching, it's we work with a limited amount of time and sessions, depending, of course, on the type of coaching and the agreement with the client. So in my case, I work with clients for 6 sessions. And during these 6 sessions, each session will take, in my case, around an hour to 2 hours. Some coaches work with smaller amounts of time, in shorter sessions. Others will work in longer sessions. It really depends on the technique that you're using and the niche that you have, etc. But this is how I work and how many coaches that I know work as well. So the coaching process starts with the client having a goal. And usually from my experience, the goal might not be clear, or there might be like 5 different goals within that goal or whatever. So the first process is, or one of the first processes is to unravel that and unwrap that goal and make it crystal clear. And then basically, this is kind of jargon for coaching, but you go from point A to point B, right? So you establish and you look at, using specific tools, where you are now, what is your current situation, and where you want to be, what you want to be. And then the coaching process will also enable the client or the coachee to create their action plan, so they know their point A, where they are, their point B, where they want to go, or how they want to be, and the steps to establish that, to be able to attain that. Okay, so this is in a nutshell, very, very summarized what coaching is. Now, expat coaching, which is the coaching I've worked with, because I'm an expat. I have been an expat for, my whole life. And I've realized that many things that I suffered with were pretty much unnecessarily suffering, because if I had known back then when I moved what I know now, oh my God, my life would have been a lot easier, a lot easier. So I made it my mission to help people, and so other people, other expats don't have to go through the same issues. That said, my process is working with people, and their goal is probably linked to a new transition in terms of geography. So many of my clients, for example, are wives of people, for example, executives that move to another country via their corporation. And these wives find themselves a little bit lost sometimes, because not only do they not have their social environment, their social support, their family, they also many times are at a loss in terms of professional activity. Many times they gave up a certain career and they are trying to, reinvent themselves while dealing with, the kids and moving to a new country. Other people that I also work with are people that are transitioning into, for example, a more freelance way of life. So people who are tired of corporations, and I wouldn't say necessarily nomadic life, but are in a new country and do want to establish themselves physically there, but are also going through changes in their professional life, meaning they're changing their, instead of working for a corporation, they're working for themselves. Or, for example, people who are retired or semi-retired. So there is a certain common theme with relocation, is that, in my experience, that people very rarely only transition geographically. They're also transitioning something else as well. Many times professional life, many times family life, like the kids, it's an empty nesters and they decide to move, retired or not. So there are many different transitions going on in my experience with my clients, both individual clients and participants of my events and workshops. So expat coaching will help these people who are transitioning cultures to deal with both external issues, which is basically, I don't speak the language, I can't communicate, how to deal with that better while building or rebuilding a social life, and while dealing with many times overwhelm. I mean, if you're moving with children, you have to also look regarding, the housing has to be more or less stable. It should be stable with kids, while if you're on your own, it's not that big a deal if you have to move to another place or another apartment in 6 months, a year. With children, you also have the issue of the schooling and their adjustment. And so depending on your situation, you will have different challenges. And what expat coaching does is helps people to kind of look within the clutter of all of these things that you have to do or that you think you have to do at once, and helps them prioritize, helps them create space for self-care, for example, helps them deal with expat guilt, helps them deal with a strategy on, for example, a realistic strategy on how to learn the language. Sometimes it's really difficult. How to build your social network, and sometimes it's not that easy. So that's what expat coaching does, using specific tools, specific techniques that are provided. In my case, were provided, and I learned that in my psychology masters. I did intercultural psychology masters, and also in the coaching certification. So these two, plus all the learning that I do all the time. But basically, bringing these two together, you are able, I am able to help people manage expectations, manage their reality, manage how to do things in a different setting, manage emotions in a more, how would I say, in a smoother and softer way that doesn't have to be that hard. So I hope your questions and doubts and curiosities about expat coaching were satisfied. If you have any more questions, please let me know. Send me a comment, write down a comment, and I'd love to hear your opinions and what you think about this. So I'll see you next time.